Welcome to the world of science fiction stories, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe my channel. Enjoy the listening. Captain Sienna Blake stood at the edge of the UES Valor's command deck, her dark hair pulled into a tight knot at the back of her head. Ahead of her, the blackness of space was pierced by the delicate glimmer of Earth in the distance and the faint outline of the distant moon. For decades, humanity had hidden its true strength behind a facade of limited defensive capability. Now, the truth could no longer stay buried. Captain, came the calm voice of analyst Myra Soar from the communications console. I'm picking up an encrypted distress call. It originated near the Council's diplomatic envoy fleet, 20,000 kilometers above Earth orbit. Sienna's jaw tightened to play it. Static crackled, a measured female voice broke through, strained, urgent. This is Ambassador Tessa Wynn of the Terran Assembly. The Galactic Council has ordered a preemptive strike on our diplomatic vessels. They're labeling Earth as rogue. All Council warships will open fire in T-2 minutes. Repeat, destroy our ships on sight. A stunned silence followed. The Council, long portrayed as wise arbiters of galactic law, had declared Earth a pariah. Worse, they had plans to murder the planet's envoys. Myra's fingers flew across the console. Council frigates are decloaking, they're positioning for weapons lock. Sienna inhaled slowly, her thoughts sharp. She had spent 17 years in the Earth fleet, rising through the ranks because she believed in the promise of exploration, cooperation, and the rule of law. Yet here was proof that the Galactic Council had betrayed every agreement. She turned to look out at the display of Council vessels, sleek ships glinting with Council insignia, oblivious to the truth they spread. Battle stations, she ordered. This is a defensive action. Her voice had the cold authority of steel. In seconds, the deck transformed. Red lights flashed as officers sprinted to their posts. Weapons officers keyed their consoles, launching power to the armor-piercing plasma cannons. Behind her, the hum of the ship's core pulsed like a living heartbeat. Myra's voice cut in again. Captain, the Phoenix Fleet units are coming online, ready to deploy on your command. Sienna allowed herself a small, grim smile. The Phoenix Fleet had been humanity's secret project for 50 years, hundreds of advanced warships hidden in asteroid bases, lunar caverns, and the gas giant shadow of Jupiter. Officially, humanity's ships were limited to diplomatic couriers and minimal defense vessels. Unofficially, they built dreadnoughts and attack cruisers capable of turning back entire fleets. All units open fire, Sienna ordered. Target Council lead ships, protect our diplomats at all costs. Instantly, plasma bolts etched fiery arcs across the void, striking the Council frigates. Explosions bloomed like supernovas as weaponized energy tore through shields. The Council ships had never faced such firepower from Earth. The first salvo crippled two lead vessels, sending them tumbling toward Earth's atmosphere. On the comm line, Ambassador Wynn's voice crackled again. Captain Blake, thank the stars, our vessel is damaged but still operational. We see Earth's warships in position. You saved our lives. Sienna answered, voice firm. Ambassador, escort your damaged ship into the Valor's hangar bay. We'll transfer you to the safety of the Phoenix flagship. Below decks, hatch doors opened as the escort cruiser Tyrannis glided in, its hull scarred by recent hits. Ambassador Wynn stood on the bridge, her brow drawn tight. She wore the elegant blue uniform of Terran diplomats, though the edges now looked worn and smudged. Her copper hair was loose, and her green eyes were bright with anxiety and relief. Captain Blake descended to meet her. The hum of the ship's engines resonated through the corridors as they walked side by side. Ambassador, Sienna said, offering a slight nod. I'm sorry you had to witness the Council's deception. Wynn's lips quivered with emotion. We spent weeks negotiating a peaceful exchange of medical and agricultural technology with the Solaran Republic. The Council blocked every attempt, leaving us no choice but to send private envoys. And now they've branded us as criminals. Behind them, analyst Myra Soar joined, cradling a datapad. We've decoded intercepted Council orders. They've systematically delayed admissions of emerging species, then purged anyone who slipped through. Solar Prime, Krella Vidia gone. This is proof of genocide. The ambassador's hands clenched. This report must reach every star system. The Council cannot be allowed to rewrite history again. Sienna set her jaw. We'll broadcast it from the Prometheus flagship once we rendezvous. But first, we need to secure Earth. I'm activating global defense grids and ordering the Phoenix fleet to assume tactical positions around key colonies. Wynn blinked, are you declaring wars? Sienna met her gaze. I'm declaring truth. The Council broke their charter. They betrayed the entire galaxy's trust. and if they fire one more shot at Earth or any peaceful world, we will answer with fire. In the hangar bay, bright spotlights highlighted sleek warships lining the deck, each vessel a reminder of humanity's hidden might. Crew members hurried along catwalks, preparing for the next phase of battle. As Sienna returned to the command deck, she passed a line of technicians uploading the Council's war orders onto public channels. Soon, every human, every colony, every potential ally would see the proof. She reached her chair, turning to face the viewport one last time. The Council's battered frigates drifted on the edge of light and dark, crippled but still dangerous. And beyond them, a small blue marble glowed with quiet determination. "Gentlemen and ladies," she said, voice steady over the comm network, "this is Captain Sienna Blake of the UES Valor. Earth stands betrayed but not broken. Today we show the Council the strength of unity, truth, and resolve. Prepare for the answer they'll never forget." As the Valor climbed in orbit, the glare of its plasma engines lit up the Council ships. The first shot of humanity's true war had been fired, and echoes of betrayal would soon reverberate across every star they had ever known. Plasma arcs streaked through the darkness as the UES Valor unleashed its first official volley against the Council's fleet. Captain Sienna Blake watched the tactical display, noting each frigate's shield status and hull integrity. She felt no joy in this violence, only quiet determination. Humanity's secret had been revealed, and now they had to back it up with action. Lieutenant Omar Reyes, leading the boarding party from the escort cruiser Tyrannis, peered through the viewport as the Valor's plasma cannons chewed through the enemy formation. Two Council frigates erupted in fireballs, debris scattering like fallen stars. "Looks like they underestimated us," Omar muttered to Specialist Ivan Cho, his demolitions expert who crouched beside him in the boarding shuttle. Cho grinned, adjusting the straps on his explosive charges. "Underestimation is their specialty. Let's give them something to remember." His voice was calm, almost cheerful, as if they were performing a routine exercise rather than storming a warship whose guns had just tried to burn Earth's diplomats alive. The shuttle detached and glided toward the crippled Council frigate, the Aurelian Dawn, its one-sprout hull gouged by plasma fire. Omar checked his wrist display. "Boarding lock in 60 seconds. Shields are down to 20%, enough for us." Inside the Valor's hangar bay, Captain Blake maintained open communications with Ambassador Tessa Wynn. "Ambassador, I want your testimony recorded live. The entire Council must see your first-hand account." Wynn's voice crackled over the secure channel. "Understood, Captain. I'll brief Lieutenant Reyes on what to look for, any evidence of the Council's orders or execution logs." Omar's shuttle docked with a soft thunk. He and 6 Marines formed up behind Specialist Cho, magnetic boots clicking on the hatch floor. The corridor beyond was dim, only emergency lights guiding their path. Omar's pulse raced, not from fear but anticipation. He knew what they must find, the smoking proof of betrayal, neatly logged by those Council officers who still believed themselves honorable. A creeping groan echoed as damaged bulkheads shifted. Omar signaled a halt. "Cho, sweep that junction for traps." Cho knelt and attached a small scanner to the floor. After a tense moment, the device beeped green. "Clear," Cho announced. They pressed on, passing signs of hasty retreat, scorched walls, overturned furniture, and a single officer's datapad blinking unattended. Omar picked it up. The screen displayed decrypted transcripts of Council orders. "Operation Eclipse, eradicate all unauthorized envoys." Beneath it, timestamps matched Ambassador Wynn's distress call. "Got it," Omar said, slipping the datapad into a secure pouch. Further down the corridor, the team came upon a sealed door marked Data Core. Omar tapped his comms. "Captain Blake, we've found the archive entry for Operation Eclipse, requesting data dump." Blake responded instantly. "You're clear, we've encrypted the live feed, proceed." Arya Parr, the Valor's hacker embedded among the Marines, jacked her neural interface to a small port on the door. Her dark eyes glowed with focus as streams of code scrolled across her augmented reality goggles. "Bypass in progress, 30%, 90% done." The door hissed open. Inside, crystalline data nodes hovered in a circular chamber, light refracting like rainbows. Arya reached out and plucked one from its gyroscopic cradle. "These contain all Council communications for the last 50 years, enough to ruin them completely." Omar grinned. "Excellent work." But before they could retreat, alarms blared. Arya's face tightened. "They've reactivated internal security, locks are re-engaging." Footsteps thundered down the corridor. Omar barked orders. "Defensive positions, Cho, plant charges on the door. When the lock engages, we blow it." Marine sergeants barked back affirmatives as they took cover. Within seconds, the heavy blast door clanged shut, sealing the data core behind them, but it also trapped them. Omar checked his wrist. 10 seconds until lockdown, now. Cho pressed the detonator. A muffled boom shook the corridor as the door buckled, metal buckling and sparks flew. The Marines poured through the gap just as the shutters closed completely. Omar vaulted out, data node in hand. Back aboard the Valor, the boarding shuttle docked and vented its passengers into the hangar. Omar handed the crystalline node to Ambassador Wynne, who accepted it with a trembling hand. "You've done the galaxy a great service," she whispered. Outside, the battle raged. Pilot Kyan Roth, at helm of the Valor's wing of interceptors, looped around to engage the remaining Council frigates. His voice crackled in Omar's earpiece. "Lieutenant, 9 targets down, 6 to go. We're drawing their fire, but our shields are holding." Sienna watched the holographic display as Council ships began to break formation, their confidence shattered. "All units, focus on disabling their drives. No outright destruction. We want prisoners for testimony." She turned to the communications console. "Broadcast live feed of the Council orders. Every system in range will see the truth." A static-laced voice came back. "Broadcast secure." Moments later, the Valor's emblem flickered on countless Council monitors. Tessa Wynn's calm but resolute words filled the void. "This Council has lied, obstructed, and murdered in the name of order. We bring you proof." She held up the crystalline node. "Within this is the record of genocide, blocked alliances, and betrayal. Know this, we will not stand down." Light years away, fringe species watched in stunned silence. Xenophils and pacifists alike stared at screens showing the Council's duplicity laid bare. The Solarans, once isolated on their luminescent world, saw the same broadcast. Prince Kairos, heir to the Council throne, clenched his fist. His world had been silenced for years, now he knew why. On the Valor's deck, the last Council frigate fell silent as its warp drive flickered out. Sienna exhaled. "Lieutenant Ray's status?" Omar's voice came over the comm, breathless. "We've captured 4 surviving Council officers. They're willing to testify, the rest have retreated." "Good work," Sienna replied. "Keep them secure. We'll rendezvous with the Phoenix flagship in 2 hours. Ambassador, how are you holding?" Wynn's voice was firm, ready to finish this. "Let's end the Council's reign together." As the Valor slipped into hyperspace, leaving behind the wounded embers of the Council's armada, humanity and its allies prepared for the next phase, forging an alliance strong enough to topple an empire built on lies. And above all, they would ensure that betrayal would answer with fire. The hidden station drifted in the shadow of the asteroid belt, its dark metal hull barely visible against the backdrop of tumbling rocks. Inside, Ambassador Tessa Wynne paced along the central conference chamber. The room's walls were lined with softly glowing panels that displayed distant star systems and trade routes. Here, humanity's reach extended through secret channels, far from the prying eyes of the Galactic Council. Beside her stood Counselor Lena Vard, the Terran Assembly's foremost expert in interspecies diplomacy. Lena adjusted her sleeves, her calm brown eyes focused on the entrance. "They should be here any moment," she said. "If our testimony proved Council guilt, these delegates will join our cause. If we can convince them, Earth will act with fairness." Tessa nodded. "We have to show them the archives from Kairos 9 and the live feed from the Valor. Proof is more convincing than words." A low hum filled the room as the airlock doors slid open. First to arrive was Delegate Siloa of the Ceruleans, a tall, tentacled being whose blue skin shimmered like moonlight on water. Siloa's many limbs coalesced into a graceful bow. "Ambassador Wynne, Counselor Vard," she intoned in her melodious voice. "Your actions saved my people from silence. I stand ready to listen." Behind Siloa strode warrior priest Jorn of the Nyrek, his hulking frame clad in ceremonial armor adorned with ancient runes. His deep voice rumbled like distant thunder. "I have seen Council lies cost billions of lives. The Nyrek will not stand idle. But tell us, what does humanity ask in return?" Tessa stepped forward, flattening the datapad in her hand. "We ask only partnership. Your insights will shape our defense and diplomacy. In time, all species, human and alien, will have equal voice in a new council." Jorn's horned brow furrowed. "Our faith tradition teaches that trust grows from shared sacrifice. How can we believe your hidden fleet will serve peace, not conquest?" Counselor Vard took over. "We delayed revealing our strength to prevent arms races. When the Council imposed disarmament terms on colonists, it was always political. Our fleet exists to protect the innocent, not to subjugate. We will open our shipyards for joint oversight and include your representatives in training exercises." Siloa's multifaceted eyes gleamed. "Your honesty honors you, but words alone are not proof." At that moment, Lieutenant Omar Reyes and hacker Arya Parr entered, carrying a small crystalline node and a portable hollow generator. Omar placed the node on a pedestal. We retrieved this from the Council's archive on Kairos 9. It holds 50 years of Council communications, orders for eradication, trade blockades, and cover-ups. Arya tapped the hollow projector. A three-dimensional recording appeared, showing High Administrator Vexler's scaled face issuing Operation Eclipse orders. The delegates gasped. Even Jorn's stern features betrayed shock. Saloa reached out, her tendrils trembling. This is genocide, not governance. Jorn stabbed a gauntleted finger into the air. Here lies the truth. The Council calls itself a protector, yet it kills emerging species when they no longer serve its interests. We have all suffered. Tessa swallowed. That is why we must build something new. If we unite now, we can stop any future betrayals. A tense hush fell. Outside, small thrusters fired as the Valor and its companion cruisers maintained station guard. The hidden meeting would be safe for now. Delegate Saloa raised one limb. The Ceruleans vote to join your alliance, but we will negotiate terms, full access to your archives on Council finances and resource transfers. Our biologists suffered years of stagnation under Council patents. Jorn bared his teeth in a grin. The Nyrak stand with humanity. We request that at least half of your shipyards be open to our engineers, and I wish to lead a joint sect of peacekeeping warriors trained by both our cultures. Councillor Vard inclined her head. Those are fair conditions. Earth will sign a preliminary charter today. Tessa exhaled in relief. Then it's settled. Let us draft the charter and prepare for a wider call to other species. As the delegates gathered around the central table, an urgent red light flashed on the hollow panel. Omar tapped it. Incoming transmission from Captain Blake. The crystal projector flickered to life, revealing Sienna's stern face aboard the Valor. Ambassador Wynn, the Council has dispatched interceptor squadrons toward this station. They must have traced our broadcast. Alarm rippled through the room. Jorn's armor plates rattled as he rose. Then we must fight here. If they aim to crush our alliance before it forms, we cannot allow it. Saloa's voice was quiet but resolute. We will defend this station. Our bioshields and your Phoenix fleet make a strong defense. Tessa squared her shoulders. Prepare for battle. Lena, coordinate with our military staff. Omar, Arya, lock this data in your pockets. If the station falls, we must smuggle evidence to our fleets. Beyond the reinforced blast doors, the hum of incoming Council interceptors grew louder. The hidden station's turrets rotated into position, twin barrels gleaming black against the corridor walls. Outside, through viewports, sleek enemy fighters glowed with Council livery as they broke orientation control to line up attack vectors. A booming voice spoke through the station intercom. All personnel man your stations. We fight not for conquest but for truth. Sienna Blake's image shimmered on the projector. I'm deploying our escort shuttles now. Expect a counterstrike in 5 minutes. Hold the line. Shortly after, the bay doors hissed open. Shuttle after shuttle, crimson-painted, phoenix-marked, rocketed out in pairs. Jorn hefted his ceremonial spear and strode to the turret control console. Saloa infused power into the station's bioshield system, sending a gentle blue wave of energy across the hull plating. Councillor Vard and Ambassador Wynn moved to the emergency briefing podium. Species of the Alliance, Tessa addressed them, today marks the first battle of our new coalition. We fight not for empire but for justice. Hold fast, and when the dust settles, we will stand together as equals. As the first bright streaks of Council plasma bolts slammed into the station's shield, its surface rippled like water. The Alliance had been born in the unlikeliest of places, a hidden rock in a belt of asteroids. But now, under fire, the whispers of unity would become a roar that the Council could no longer ignore. Night had fallen over Kairos 9's vault city, but artificial lights made the sprawling domes glow like fallen stars. High above the planet's surface, the central archive sat beneath a geodesic dome of reflective panels, an impregnable fortress of data and Council secrets. It was time for Lieutenant Omar Reyes and his team to break in. Omar hovered in the stealth shuttle's cockpit, his gaze fixed on the dome's silhouette. Beside him, Sentinel Merkdin tightened the straps on his tactical vest. Merk's broad shoulders and calm demeanor reassured the others. He had infiltrated more secure facilities than Omar could count. In the back, Specialist Arya Parr prepared her neural hacking rig, fingers dancing over the interface that glowed faintly against her dark skin. Remember, Omar said quietly, we're here for the core drives. Once we grab the archive keys, we'll have every council record we need. No second chances. Merrick nodded, his steel blue eyes unwavering. Shields are down. We slip through the storm clouds, hit the service hatch, then move fast. Arya's goggles flickered with data. Security grids are online, but the council's busy cleaning up after our broadcast. Their focus is on perimeter patrols, not interior locks. She tapped a sequence. I can loop most door cams for 10 minutes. Omar exhaled. Good, let's go. Outside, the stealth shuttle dropped from higher orbit, slipping past patrol routes. The shuttle's hull was coated in adaptive camo that reflected the city lights, keeping them invisible. As they cut through the atmosphere, wind buffeted the slender craft, but pilot Kyan Roth held steady. Moments later, they rolled past the dome's curvature and came to a near stop above the service hatch. Two security drones drifted by, scanning with laser grids. Merrick readied his magnetic harpoons. On Omar's signal, he fired, the cables latching onto the metal frame. With a hum of winches, they lowered the shuttle into a maintenance corridor. Inside, the corridor was silent except for the faint hum of cooling systems. White panels lined the walls, each etched with council insignia. Omar raised his sidearm. Everyone stay sharp. They advanced in single file. Arya tapped her rig. Cameras looped. You've got 6 minutes before they reboot. She slung the rig over her shoulder and clicked her pistol into place. Their path led them to an airlock with a small keypad. Omar knelt. Merrick, breach. Merrick placed a slim plasma cutter against the door jamb. Sparks flew, metal hissed, and within seconds the panel collapsed. Omar swung the door open. They entered the service bay, a large room where maglev rails carried crates of data modules. At the far end stood a reinforced chamber marked Archive Core. Two council officers in gray uniforms sat at terminals, absorbed in their work. Omar raised a finger. Merrick and Arya melted into the shadows. With silent precision, Merrick slid behind one officer, pressing a stun baton to her neck. Arya disabled the second guard's neural implant, sending him into unconsciousness. Within moments, both officers slumped to the floor. Omar strode forward and punched the authentication console. External override code Delta 97. The display flickered green. The heavy doors to the core slid open with a pneumatic hiss. Inside, rows of crystalline data cores glowed. Omar's breath caught at the sight. Each core contained centuries of council history. Arya joined him, eyes wide. This is everything. He selected 3 cores and clipped them into insulated cases. We want all of it, but these will do for now. He handed one to Merrick and one to Arya. Suddenly, red lights strobed, an alarm blared. Omar's heart pounded. Time up. Down the corridor, distant footsteps and radios crackled. Arya swore softly. They rebooted early. We need an exit plan. Merrick nodded. Down the service tunnels. He pointed to a grated door at the side of the bay. Omar blasted the lock, and the team slipped inside as bulkhead doors sealed behind them. They sprinted through a maze of maintenance shafts. Water condensation dripped from pipes, echoing ominously. Omar scanned his display for the shuttle's coordinates. 2 minutes to extraction. A harsh voice crackled over comms. Security teams inbound on all decks. Intruders must be neutralized. The council's automated turrets around the archive sealed doors and activated defense drones. Merrick's voice was calm. Follow me. He led them down a narrow ladder shaft. Their boots clanged on metal rungs as they descended 200 meters to a sublevel maintenance deck. Omar's comm flickered. Captain Blake, we've got the cores, exfil ready. The Valor's voice answered, shuttle standing by, hang tight. Static snapped out. Ahead, a reinforced blast door blocked their path. Arya placed a timed charge, 5 seconds, she murmured and backed away. The explosion rocked the corridor, sending sparks and debris raining down. Omar covered his face and they vaulted through the gap. They emerged onto the landing platform, where the stealth shuttle's boarding ramps had lowered at Blake's order. Omar launched forward, carrying the cases. Merrick and Arya followed. Behind them, the archive's emergency shutters descended, trapping pursuing drones in a steel box. Arya slammed the ramp closed. We're in, take us up. Kyan engaged thrusters. The shuttle lifted off, weaving past searchlights and turret fire. Plasma bolts struck nearby platforms, sending molten metal into the void. Sienna's voice came through the comm. Well done, team. You've secured our victory arsenal. Omar breathed hard, gratitude flooding him. We did it. Arya smiled, adrenaline shining in her eyes. Now every council lie is ours to reveal. Merrick looked out the viewport at the vault dome shrinking beneath them. They built this fortress to hide the truth. Now they can't stop it from coming out. As the shuttle punched back into stealth and vaulted toward the waiting Valor, the team felt the weight of their haul. The Council's deepest secrets, Operation Eclipse, forced eradications, blocked alliances, lay safely in human hands. Above the city, the archive dome's lights dimmed in confusion. Within hours, this raid would spark rebellions on Council worlds. The hidden records would fuel uprisings among every species that had ever been silenced. And with that knowledge, humanity's alliance would grow unstoppable, one stolen secret at a time. All across the galaxy, Holonet channels flickered to life with the stolen Council records. Ambassador Tessa Wynn's calm voice narrated damning evidence of forced eradications, resource theft, and political betrayals. The holographic archives, the crystalline cores from Kairos 9 glowed in the feeds, exposing decades of Council lies. Species long silenced by fear now saw the truth. On the bridge of the UES Valor, Captain Sienna Blake watched the hollow stream reach thousands of networks. "They're watching," she said, arms folded. "Rebels will rise soon." Lieutenant Omar Reyes stood beside her, reading reports on a datapad. Multiple systems are already flooding with uprisings. The Murax worlds just declared independence. Cerulean mining stations are refusing council orders. Even the Hellion Imperium is demanding a new council hearing. Sienna let a small smile break through. "Then we move fast, protect those revolts and keep supplies flowing." Convoy under fires. In orbit around Solera IX, a convoy of cargo freighters and refugee transports formed a protective ring around the planet's surface. Rebel leader Maruk Trez, once a high-ranking council admiral, guided a wing of battered corvettes. His gray hair and stern features were etched with the weight of betrayal. Below him, pilot Kyan Roth led the Valor's interceptors in patrol runs. "Trez, we've got council frigates moving in from the north," he reported on comm. Maruk's voice crackled through the speaker. "South flank, me and my Nyrak warriors will engage. Humans take the west, Ceruleans flank east." Delegate Saloa's rich, melodic speech came next. "Ceruleans standing by, flank east and draw their fire. We will open the asteroid fields as cover." With coordinated precision, the makeshift alliance sprang into action. Plasma bolts painted the void as rebel ships darted between rocky outcroppings. Council frigates unleashed their batteries, but the rebels used hit-and-run tactics that kept them off balance. Below, on the surface of Solera IX, refugee transports touched down in staging zones. Civilians from Council worlds poured out, families, elderly scholars, children clutching tattered belongings. Ground crews unloaded medical supplies, portable shelters, and rations salvaged from Earth's hidden depots. Maruk guided his corvette alongside a freighter. "This sector is clear," he announced. "Prepare to offload." As he spoke, a council squadron broke through the asteroid cover, swooping toward the convoy. Maruk's jaw tightened. "Human fighters now," he bellowed. Kyan's interceptors dove, weaving through the incoming squadron. He lined up a target and released a plasma bolt that scorched a council fighter's wing. The ship spun out of formation, debris streaming, and crashed into an asteroid. Saloa piloted a Cerulean frigate, her tentacles manipulating multiple controls. She unleashed bioplasma stingers that struck another council ship, disabling its engines. "They underestimate us again," she hissed with a proud smile. With both flanks secured, Maruk directed the surface transports to complete offloading. Troops, gear, medical units move out. Nyrak warriors poured onto the planet, their heavy boots sending shockwaves through the red soil. A growing flame. On the temperate world of Vila Prime, millions tuned into the rebroadcast of the archive revelations. News anchors, once under the Council's tight control, now reported with unrestrained urgency. Citizens marched in the streets, chanting for a new council and human aid missions. In the capital city of Oris, university campuses became safe havens for freed prisoners, scholars, and dissidents. Deputy Chancellor Rena Halos stood at a makeshift podium in the main square. Her voice echoed through thrumming speakers. "Today, we stand with humanity and our fellow species against tyranny. We pledge to rebuild our world in truth and justice." A roar of approval rose from the crowd. Signs declaring truth over lies and new council now fluttered in the breeze. On the bridge of Earth's flagship Prometheus, Admiral Coe monitored the uprising reports with grim satisfaction. "Captain Blake," he called, "Vila Prime has declared interim self-governance. They request humanitarian aid." Sienna's eyes gleamed. Send every relief convoy we have. Tell General Okafor to mobilize the Artemis base for joint operations. Allies in the Outer Rims. In the Outer Rim, the once-forgotten Krona system whispered in every cantina about revolution. A ragtag fleet of pirate clans, shunned by the Council, joined humanity's banner. Captain Sienna Blake personally oversaw negotiations via Hololink. "We will protect any cruiser that raises your flag," she promised. "No more hunting and extortion." The pirate lords, faces scarred by years of clandestine raids, nodded in solidarity. "We may sail crooked paths, but these council lies united us," growled Lord Vexar, a burly human with mechanical arms. "We'll keep the supply lines open." Holograms of Phoenix-class cruisers shining through asteroid shadows inspired hope. Under the new flag, an olive branch over a phoenix, the Outer Rim became a lifeline for rebel forces. Solidifying the alliance. Back on the hidden station near the asteroid belt, delegates from over 20 species crowded into the Grand Assembly Hall. Ambassador Wynne held the newly drafted charter, the Concord of Equality, before the gathered crowd. "Let this document stand as proof that truth can break the strongest chains," she declared. "No more secret genocides, no more forced isolation. We pledge to govern by transparency, fairness, and mutual respect." Delegate Siloa unfurled her tentacles in a graceful bow, the cerulean sign with honor. Warrior priest Jorn proclaimed for the Nyrak, "We pledge our strength and loyalty." One by one, voices rose in unison. As the assembly's votes were recorded, a shimmering curtain of light enveloped the room, projected from the cosmic wellspring sculpture at the hall's center. Together, they celebrated a new dawn. The council's old order crumbled, swept away by the truth and the fire of collective courage. Preparing for the next strike. Far above Coronis Prime, the ancient capital of the council, Captain Blake stood on the Valor's observation deck. Before her, the joint rebel fleets amassed like a living armada. Human dreadnoughts loomed alongside cerulean bio-cruisers and Nyrak dreadguards. Lieutenant Reyes joined her, voice low. "We've inspired uprisings on a dozen worlds now. The Council's supply lines are fractured." Sienna's face was determined. "It's not enough to fight their ships. We must liberate their home world, dismantle their command, and replace them with the conquered." A hush fell as the fleets engaged sublight engines. Through the viewport, Cornus Prime grew larger, a blue-green jewel ringed by Council frigates. Sienna placed a hand on the glass. "Tomorrow we start the siege." Omar nodded. "We stand with you, captains." As alarms sounded for battle stations, the Alliance prepared to turn resistance into victory. The fire that answered betrayal now burned brighter than any empire's darkest lies. With each new world that joined their cause, humanity's promise rang clear. Truth and unity would forge a future where no secret could ever again threaten peace.